Welcome to Organize with professional organizer Rachel Seavey. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., Rachel shares her expertise and compassionate approach to help you deal with overwhelming clutter. Rachel?
Hey, collectors! Welcome to the Organize podcast. I'm your host, professional organizer Rachel Seavey, and this episode is all about the thrill of the hunt. I know when it comes to your shopping that you all can be some savages. You stalk prices online and you can't keep your mind off of it. Not only do you want that item, but you've got to have that item in every color that it comes available. After waiting quietly, you creep up on this prized possession, the one that you've been watching, the one that you haven't been able to stop thinking about, and suddenly you capture it at its lowest price ever. Your heart is racing, your breath is going fast, but you keep it cool, and yes, you go in for the kill. You select every single color available. Quick as possible, you click buy now, pay later, and faster than the speed of light, you've slaughtered another amazing deal. At this point, the adrenaline has you high. You feel like you've won the lottery. You need a glass of water. That was so exhilarating. You take a few breaths and you begin to calm down. The high of shopping is a lot like the high of gambling. In the moment, it feels exciting and exhilarating, but once you come down from the high, you still feel empty and unfulfilled. How do you feel after you've made an impulsive purchase? Have you forgotten about it once it was ordered? Are you already on to the next thing? Are you remorseful? Deep down, do you know that your house is cluttered and you really don't need to bring anything else in? Are you obsessed with shopping and can't fight the compulsion to acquire? Do these actions leave you feeling anxious and depressed? Collectors, take some time to think about the last purchase that you made. Capture that image in your mind. How excited were you when you first ordered it or purchased it? Did you open the package immediately and find a perfect place to put your new treasure? Or did you leave the box unopened for 10 years in your hallway? My guess is you're somewhere in between. Still hold that item in your mind. Are you still as excited this very second about that item as you were when you were purchasing it? I ask these questions and bring this topic up because I open many QVC and Amazon boxes for people. Thousands, actually. I pop a lot of tags. Online shopping, in-store shopping. What this says to me is that you're excited to order a bunch of items, but once they come, you're not is excited. These items are completely neglected. If you're a brick and mortar shopper, your impulse is incredible while you're making that purchase. You feel like it was made specifically for you, like you've gotten the best deal around. And then you get home and you just leave that item that was just a few moments ago held so sacred in the bag with a tag and the receipt, and you just throw it in your closet with the other bags like it. So what actually happens when someone works with me and I open up all of your packages? Honestly, when the package is finally open, and let me just do a side note about Amazon and QVC and how they should just be ashamed of the amount of packing supplies that they use for every single item. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so once we finally open up your packages, some people are excited and most people are actually totally over it. I will definitely say there's no longer the original thrill. I hear a lot of, oh, that's where that was. Or, I just bought another one of those. It's very rare that someone's ecstatic about finding something that was left unopened for 10 years. It's really not as personal as finding something such as a memento that would put memories into your mind of a really good time that you had. I also hear a lot of remorse. Remorse about items that haven't been used, remorse about the money that was spent on items that haven't been used. When I open up people's purchases, they are forced to face them and make a decision on them. That's why this podcast is called The Thrill of the Hunt. What can you do to stop spending tons of money on items that you never use? Here are 5 tips to help you kill the urge to acquire. Tip number 1, stay away from shopping. Do not go on to Amazon or Target or QVC or Zulily or Wayfair or Pier 1 or eBay or all of those sites that you all love. Disconnect your internet and go to drastic measures, especially if this is causing you financial hardship. You've got to cut the online shopping umbilical cord. Just because you can get whatever you want and have it delivered tomorrow does not mean that you have to do so. If you shop in person, stay away from any place that causes you to spend items that aren't going to be used in the future. Keep your shopping to a necessary basis. Purchase food only. Necessary supplies only. Tip number 2. If you just can't control yourself and your online shopping, put the item or items that you're looking at in your cart and make it a rule to not make a purchase on those items for 24 hours. After the 24-hour waiting period, ask yourself if you still really need this item. Also ask yourself if you have space for it and when you really plan to use it. I do this myself. Everything is done in moderation, collectors. Yes, even I shop online. However, if I'm on the fence about something, I just leave it in my cart. Sometimes I leave it in there for longer than 24 hours. Most often than not, I don't want that item any longer if it's been in there for 24 hours. Tip number 3. If you just still cannot help yourself and you've purchased something, collectors, make it a rule that whenever something comes in, something else has to leave the home in its place. For instance, if you order 2 shirts online, donate at least 2 shirts out of your wardrobe. When one thing comes in, make sure at least one thing goes out. And if your home is overly cluttered, when one thing comes in, make sure at least 2 things go out. Tip number 4. If you do have purchases sitting around and that you haven't opened them, I want you to take some time and open them all. Take some time to see how you feel about them. This is like shopping in your own home. I suggest that you do this before you buy anything else. My guess is you're not going to be as likely to run out and buy a whole bunch of stuff after you've realized how much money you've spent on things that you aren't using. Tip number 5. Make it a rule that every time you order something, you must open the package within 24 hours and find a home for it immediately. If there's not room for it or you don't have time to use it, you really don't need it. The more aware you are about your spending habits online and offline, the better off you'll be in your decluttering efforts. It's really hard to get organized when you keep bringing things in. Instead of shopping, spend more time with friends, family, pets, reading a book, hobby. Spend time making yourself happy and not drowning yourself in stuff. All that stuff ultimately creates barriers and chaos in your life. Collectors, if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube, please show me some love and click the thumbs up button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or leave a comment. I love to hear what you have to say. Until next time, collectors. And remember, happiness is a place between too little and too much.
This has been Organized with Rachel Seavey. New episodes are available every Sunday at 6 p.m. and also on the Collector Care YouTube channel. Download Rachel's Affirmations for Collectors on iTunes or Amazon.com, or sign up for Rachel's blog at collectorcare.com and receive 7 tips for clutter-free living. Thanks for listening.